Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Attaining the Second Cognition. I'm Endall Beall. The topic of this discussion is why we don't do politics. Some of you who have read my books and listened to our audios, for the most part, notice that we don't advocate political activism. I want to explain a few things about why I wrote what I wrote in revealing the conspiratorial aspect of who wants to control the world. This was exposed because people need to know how they got where we are. If you have no concept of the past, if you don't have an accurate reporting of history, when all you have is sanitized history with certain facts removed, so you are only allowed to see a certain picture that the people who control the historical studies want you to see, then you're living in an illusion. If they only tell you half truth, they're also telling you half lies. Our cultural perceptions are based on these lies, or the half lies at the very best. So I wrote my books to expose the agenda behind how we got where we are. Nowhere in any of my books have I advocated political activism or group endeavors like the feminists and the gay rights and Black Lives Matters and all the other put upon victimized minorities that want superiority in their own activism. The reason that I don't feed that system is because I don't live in that world anymore. I observe it to see what may be blowing in the wind coming my way and how it may impact me personally. But so far as watching the circus, I'm just an observer. I'm not a performer. I do not put my emotional energies into supporting that reality anymore by getting emotionally involved. If you look at people with politics and how they talk about their political ideologies, whatever they may be, or their religions, because religion and politics are basically the same thing. It's the same animal wearing different clothes. Religion has always been political. Anybody that doesn't think so is lying to themselves. So religions and politics and mass movements are all emotionally driven. Watch how passionate people get about their political or religious beliefs. And it's not really passion, it's emotion. People wear their emotions on their sleeves, and this is exactly what the virus demanded of people, to generate emotions so it could feed. When you move into the second cognition, you remove yourself from this emotional involvement. You no longer have a stake in the outcome of any political ideology, the left, the right, the middle, the up, the down. It doesn't really matter. But so long as you stay involved with an emotional investment in all of that falderall, you're feeding a reality that if you're trying to move into the second cognition, you're seeking to transcend. So why feed the beast? And this is why we don't do politics. What I have revealed in my books in reference to the conspiracy stuff is to show you the verifiable agenda on how we got where we are, so you can have a truthful basis of history to understand the background of humanity and why our minds are so fucked up. Until you can attain the clarity with the truth about history rather than the sanitized illusion that they taught you in your history courses in school, or the sanitized ideas about religion and God, you're living an illusion. And by having an emotional stake in protecting these illusions, you're only keeping the system alive. This is why the whole hive mentality perpetuated itself and why humanity is stuck in a state of repeating history, because they never learn a goddamn thing. They keep doing the same shit over and over and over again, and they lead with their emotions. There is very little thought behind what they do. They just react. And the people who psychologically control the masses, that know which of your buttons to push, keep you emotionally involved. whether it's through the emotion to make you buy products, or the emotion to keep you stirred up politically, or whether it's the emotion to make you defend your religious or spiritual beliefs because it threatens your illusion. This is what's called psychological manipulation. And this is what I wrote The Psychology of Becoming Human about. So you can see how deep these layers of cognitive control go through using psychology as a weapon against humanity. The whole purpose of my books has been to illustrate the magnitude of the lies we've all been subjected to. And every generation that we live puts one more layer of historical sanitizing on top of the previous layers, to where we live in a gigantic illusion controlled by our emotions, manipulated by people who know how to create the hot button emotional reactions to keep us under their subjugation and their control. So the reason we don't do politics, Gemma and I, in our videos, is because we don't feed that system anymore. Our emotions are not governed by some psychologist asshole somewhere, whether political, religious, or otherwise, pushing our hot buttons. We don't play that game. We have attained our freedom, and we just observe the insanity of it all. And I do mean insanity in the literal sense of the word. The Hapim mind virus has made this species emotionally insane. Humanity can't operate without emotional reaction. And it's time that this stuff stops. It's time that we start gaining some common sense, some impeccability, and some self-discipline, to where we don't need laws, and we don't need lawmakers, and we don't need politicians, and we don't need priests to tell us how to comport ourselves in a civil, human manner. All of these things are nothing but enforcement mechanisms to control people who can't think beyond their immediate emotional reactions. If you look at any political agenda, every bit of it is emotionally charged. I'm put upon. I feel I have to have equality. And half the time these people don't want equality. They want superiority. They want to run the show. They want to put the shoe on the other foot. There's no equality in this. Equality is nothing but a buzzword like humanitarianism and compassion. It's all there to play on your friggin' emotions. And as long as you let them manipulate your emotions through any of these means and methodologies, you're nothing but their slave. You're nothing but putty in their hands to be psychologically manipulated to do what they want you to do. And this is why we don't do politics. This is why we don't call for mass movements. This isn't a mass movement. This is about you as an individual and how you live your life in accordance with how other people live theirs. When we have enough people operating with impeccability, with emotional balance and equanimity, without having an emotional stake in the outcome of anything, then we will start to see a human society absent the effects of the virus. People that don't want to believe about the Hapim virus, that's fine. You believe what you want. The second cognition isn't about beliefs. It's about pragmatism, common sense, impeccability, and being free to frame your own thoughts without somebody emotionally pushing your buttons to make you jump like a marionette on a puppeteer's string. As long as you can be psychologically and emotionally manipulated in this fashion, you're nothing but a slave. You're nothing but a puppet. What we are trying to teach people is to stop being the puppet. Stop trying to manipulate others by being a puppeteer. Become your own independent, self-thinking, self-disciplined individual. Just imagine what this planet can be like if everybody did that and stopped being emotionally lit up when somebody pushed their hot button. When everybody decides that they're not going to be a victim anymore, that they're not going to be played on the puppeteer's strings. This is what we're trying to achieve with the work that we're doing. If you want the Satan's going to come get you doom and gloom bullshit that's out there, go watch the conspiracy videos. If you look at that stuff, it's all got the same ending. Oh, it's Satan, it's the end times, it's this, it's that. You know, it's all panic and gloom and doom. There's no common sense in it. Yeah, they have some seriously good data in a lot of it, but the conclusions are always the same. And they're always emotional. oh, we have to get our guns and go take down the government or do whatever the hell, I mean, you see this with, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, the Marxist Revolution. Humans keep doing the same stupid shit over and over again. Why? Because they're driven by their fucking emotions. They don't know how to observe. All they know how to do is participate when somebody riles them up. When you can get to the point where you can observe the idiocy and insanity of all of this without getting emotionally involved in it, then you're making progress. And this is why we don't do politics, because by playing the political game, I'm just feeding the system that I've just exited. Why should I give power to the first cognition world by feeding it my emotions? Why should you? When you learn this, then you can start to detach yourself from all that emotional involvement, from the herds who are all victimized and want their fair comeuppance, their share of equality and their share of humanitarianism and their share of compassion. Only victims think that way. We're not teaching things to victims. You want to be a victim? Stay a victim. Don't bring that shit to my door because I won't let it in. Get it off my porch. When you decide you're not going to be a victim anymore and not going to have your emotions played like a fiddle, then you will advance and move closer into the second cognition. As long as you want to be politically manipulated or religiously manipulated and feel that you have some position to defend because of your emotional stake in it, you're nothing but a slave. Malleable clay in the hands of the global psychologists who do nothing except manipulate you to do what they want, to dance to their tune, and that's where you will remain. This is why we don't do politics. I watch politics, I observe it, but I don't get involved in it. I don't get emotionally involved in it. To me, it's all a dog and pony show. Religion, politics, all of it. I have no stake. I have no investment in the first cognition world. The sooner you can remove your emotional attachment to that, the sooner you can stop feeding the beast and stop feeding the system, which is all that keeps it alive. When you can transcend the illusion and find pragmatic reality, then you're going to find your freedom, and not until. I thought I'd put this out here to clarify, because some people probably wonder why we don't do politics. And this is why we don't, because we don't feed the system. Why do we want to feed a system that we've just removed ourselves from when we're advocating something new and completely different? Why do we want to stay mired in a system where humanity can't learn anything and can only repeat the same errors of the past, always being the victims? It doesn't take anything to activate a victim. Just find somebody that feels put upon and push their emotional buttons, and you create mass movements. I'm not trying to push anybody's emotional buttons, so why should you let yours be pushed? And this is why we don't do politics. For those of you doing the work, stay the course and don't give up on yourselves.